Hey guys, welcome back to the Lapeef Network. I am Ameera, in case you have not heard of me, and I want to welcome you back. Happy Halloween, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying your Halloween. I just wanted to talk about this really quickly before we get started on the actual topic. And this is one of the ways that I know that my neighborhood is good and safe for children, because there are children coming knocking on our door that I have never seen before that are not from this neighborhood. So it's Halloween. Just a quick background regarding my Halloweens as a Middle Eastern girl is when Muslims, we don't celebrate Halloween. It's seen as something that's haram. Honestly, for us, it's kind of haram. Like, why are we worshiping the dead, or why are we celebrating in this way? So when I was younger and Halloween came around and kids would come to our house, right? They would come to our house and do the whole trick or treat thing. My father, he hated Halloween. He hated the whole idea of kids dressing up as dead people. And so he would open the door and go, "Wah!" to the kids, and the kids would be running and screaming and crying. It was really bad. My mother, she used to try to sneak kids things. Like, if she could answer the door before my father did, she would like give them dates. If you guys don't know what a date is, it's kind of like a fruit, like a fig. And she would give them dates and like, oh my God. So she would give them dates and like Middle Eastern sodas. And I was just like, "Mama, the kids, they want candy." She says, "No, they want something sweet. I know children. I had one. They want sweet, and I know what to give them." I said, "Mama, you never gave me sweets when I was a kid." She's like, she would say, "Wala kilma." Nah. Oh my God. Wala kilma means like shut up, silence in Arabic. So she's like, "Wala kilma." So right now the kids are coming to the door. That's why I have this door open, just in case I can hear them. When they come to the door, I've noticed that kids today, they don't say trick or treat like before. The kids, I'm opening a door and they go, "You have candy?" This is not how that works, kid. You have to say trick or treat. Half the kids aren't dressed. They are just wearing street clothes, and they're coming and saying, "You have candy?" Hand on the hip. "You have candy?" These kids, I'm not giving them candy until they say trick or treat. They should be lucky I'm not giving them fruit and dates and Arabic soda. So now let's get into the topic. So this topic, because everyone is dressed up today, everyone is dressed as something differently. I want to speak about clothing and the effect the clothing that you wear has on your life. So now this is kind of on the topic and kind of off. JR, don't get mad. But this is regarding the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah. So in all three of these books, it speaks against like cross-dressing. So women dressing as men and men dressing as women. It's just not right, and it's not appropriate, because this brings a certain spirit to you. It brings a spirit that is not proper. I want to speak to you all about how, especially us as women, how we dress and what that means to the world. What kind of spirits are we attracting with the way that we dress? Do we recognize how we are dressing, and do we realize the effect that that has on the world? Because if you look, a long time ago, a lot of most women used to wear strictly long dresses. They like to wear kind of like tight on the top and really wide at the bottom, kind of like the A-line dresses. So those kind of dresses, it was very modest yet very sexy, very much a sensual look, because the women still looked feminine, because they still showed their figure. They showed that they had a small waist, but they were also still modest by allowing their dresses to flow down to their ankles. Recently, as time has progressed, people have gotten more and more immodest, and that has brought a certain energy to the way men and women interact with one another. just like how the children today are dressed up, they are dressing up as dead people, as not goons, ghouls and ghosts and what have you. What kind of effect do they have on the people around them when they dress like that? It could be funny. It could be scary. It's a lot of effect that the way you dress has on other people. That applies even outside of Halloween, even in our daily lives, especially women. Especially women. This is why I believe in my culture, in my religion, the dress code is so strict because we recognize the effect that clothing can have on the people around you and the spirits that you are attracting towards yourself. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath because I was running up and down the stairs for the trick-or-treaters. So, right. So in our culture, we do have a very strict dress code. And in our culture, basically, we're not supposed to show any figure. Your figure is not to show. The only man that should see your figure is your husband. But I do believe that you can still be modest and still, kind of show that you aren't a circle underneath. You can still show that you're not a circle. So I want to speak to you all about that. And I want to talk about what we wear as women. Hi, 3G Craftsman. Hi, Hentai. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Tim. Hi, David X. I gotta go up a little bit. Hold on. There we go. Hi, Cameron. Hi, Lily. Hey, Clue. Clue, we are not speaking about cars today. Hi, Coffee. Hi, Miss Parker. Oh, nice to see you, Miss Parker. Hi, Tyler. Hi, Vape King. So, right. I've noticed that us women today, we believe that in order to be sexy and to be attractive to a man, that we must show our chests. We must have our chests out, and we must wear bras that push everything up to our chin, and everything kind of has to be exposed. So I've noticed that the word sexy has basically meaning less clothing. And I just want to share with you, I don't believe, now this is just from what I've seen, I do not believe that men believe that if a woman is not showing her tatas, that she's not sexy. Because if that were true, none of us would be here today, because the majority of our mothers and our grandmothers did not show this much, and yet they still had plenty of children. Hi, Dem Detox. So I want to ask you all. I was listening to Jessica X, I believe, yesterday. She had a live stream with a woman, and they were talking about. Oh, 1 second. Let me close the door. 1 minute, guys. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I saw that Jessica X was speaking about clothing, and she was talking to a lady, and the lady was saying that there was rules back when she was younger, saying that her mother told her, if you show your upper area, then you must have your legs covered. And if you show your legs, then you must have your upper covered in order to be modest and sexy. I completely disagree with that. I don't think that there's a rule of like, if you show your upper part, then you must cover your bottom, because just to be honest, women today, we show way too much of our upper. And I don't think the majority of time that we're showing our breasts, I don't think that the majority of time it looks good. It looks, I want to use the right word. It's not that it doesn't look good, but I want to say it takes away from the class. I don't think that many women can show their upper in the majority of clothing that we wear today and still be classy. Now, I'm looking at your comments. I want to see if you disagree or agree with that, but that's just how I see it. As for the legs, showing legs is very beautiful in my opinion. I believe it's very, very beautiful. But remember, I spoke to you guys a few live streams back, and I spoke about etiquette and clothing. And I spoke to you about how a woman can show her legs and still look classy and not attract the wrong kind of crowd and the wrong kind of spirits. So my advice was to wear not leggings, it's like tights. They're like tights, but they kind of look like skin, to wear those on top of your legs so that it's not just your bare skin out. And I prefer to wear, if I'm going to wear a dress or something, I will wear dark leggings. Typically, I wear mine because I have a special brand of leggings that I wear, or tights that I wear. And my brand of tights, they're black, but when they stretch out, they become a little bit more, you can see through a little bit more. And they have a line going down them in the front and a line going down them in the back. So that's one way that I believe that you can still be classy and beautiful. And honestly, just to be completely honest with you, the best way to look sexy is to be fit, is to keep yourself in shape, keep yourself tight. Don't let yourself get overweight, because that, no matter what clothing pretty much you put on a body that is not fit, it's the majority of time, unless you're fully covered, it won't look good. So in the Quran, in the Bible, and in the Torah, it speaks against cross-dressing. It says that because the way that you dress brings certain energy and certain spirits towards you, it is very improper to cross-dress. I've noticed that many women wearing pants. The women wearing pants, how women wear pants the most of the time, they wear pants out of the week. I've seen women wearing pants 7 days out of the week. Okay, 7 days. They'll have jeans one day, leggings another, yoga pants, loose fitting pants, like I don't know what they're called, like sun pants, capris another day. I mean, the endless amount of pants and jeans that women are wearing. Now, I could be a little bit too strict, but you guys hear me from a different perspective, right? That's why I'm here, to give you a different perspective. I'm a little bit strict on that because I do believe that the pants is a form of cross-dressing. It is a little bit, just a little bit. If you wear pants too much, it kind of takes away from your femininity. Cross-dressing is a woman being masculine and a man being feminine. So would I consider a woman in pants 7 days out of the week feminine? Not really, I wouldn't. So it does take away from your femininity, because when you wear a dress, there's a certain way that you tend to act. And this is where the spirits come into play. When we're talking about the spirits that you attract, the energy that you exude when you're dressed a certain way. Pants, a woman is free to move a certain way when she's in pants. She's free to sit in a more immodest way when she's wearing pants. It's just a certain energy that comes with it. This is why you see women that act more masculine, sit more masculine and everything, because there's nothing telling them, hey, you're a lady. Like, sit this way and sit this way. Don't be so masculine and don't. So that's why I urge women to try your best to, out of the 7 days out of the week, to try to wear dresses at least 4. If you are not, if you're actually a feminine woman, dress like one, because the clothes that you wear will make you act a different way. Clothing comes with spirits. People don't think about that. People just see clothing as an expression. Oh, this is how I feel today. It comes with a spirit. A person who wears sports clothes all the time might be more inclined to do sporty things. A person who wears dressy business clothes all the time might be inclined to try to form a business meeting with someone in the middle of Starbucks that they don't even know, because it brings you that spirit, because you have the spirit already, because you're like, well, I might as well just have a business meeting. I'm already dressed to par. A woman who dresses like a garden hoe might be inclined to do garden hoe things if she's already dressed to par. That's dark, I know. Along with the men. Same thing with the men. Thank you, Claire. The same thing with the men. Men who dress feminine or who are more metrosexual just might be inclined to do something more metrosexual because they're already dressed to par. People think that in Islam, men do not have a dress code. And I want to tell you that is completely untrue. there is a dress code for men. For men, Islamically, for men, their dress code is that they should not wear pants. Like if they're wearing shorts, the shorts should not, I believe they're not supposed to come above the knee, to be modest. You're supposed to keep your shorts longer than your knees. But most men are not supposed to be wearing shorts anyway. And for the men, their shirt should only come down to here. They should not have their arms out. Sorry. So these are the things that for the men, their dress code. And like I said, people never know about the dress code for men, but there is one. 1 minute, guys. Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, so a lot of people don't know about the dress code for the men. Sorry, guys, my husband came home unexpectedly. So yeah, a lot of people don't know about the dress code, and I'm here to tell you that there is a dress code for both genders. So that's just the way it is. Yes, it is my husband, G. Sorry, guys, I know it's just completely random. Just how you know it's a live stream. This is not, how can I say, it's not scripted. Things happen. Cats walk behind me. Husbands come home. It's, yeah. So anyway, back to the dressing and Halloween. So I see that Halloween, when I see so many kids like dressed up, I know for us it's not right as Muslims, but I see a lot of people dressed up as good things. Like I've seen the girls dress up as princesses and like just good things, angels. But I tell you one bad thing that I saw. A lot of people might disagree with me here, but you're here for a different perspective. I see boys coming to our door in princess dresses, little boys wearing princess dresses. Now, I'm supposed to be unbiased towards the children because, of course, this is not my child. So I'm not supposed to, turn and, I guess, give the cold shoulder to a boy wearing a dress because it's not his fault. It's not his fault that his parents are letting him go down the wrong path. But this, like I told you, it speaks about the spirits that come along with the clothes that you wear. Your clothing brings different spirits to you. And seeing little boys in princess dresses, it hurts me deep inside of my soul because I know that the little boy has no idea what this entails. There are parents that are being told that, even by the mainstream media, there are parents that are being told that you shouldn't restrict your child from their expressions. Any child should be allowed to wear anything to express themselves. It doesn't mean that the child will be homosexual. It doesn't mean that the boy will be homosexual just because he wants to wear his sister's princess costume. No, it doesn't. But like I told you, clothes bring certain spirits, and that allowing your son to dress like that, you might be inviting the wrong type of spirit to have influence over your son by doing that. So I want to read a few comments, and like I said, you guys can feel free to call in if you guys want to talk about this, if you want to talk about the spirits that come along with Halloween dressing, or if you want to speak about the spirits that come with women and how we dress. I am open to hear everything. So for now, I will read until someone calls in, and I will read your comments. David says, did the boy want to wear the dress? That is the question. It is the question. I'm not sure, but it really bothers me because this is also being shown on the television. There are commercials speaking on how we should be tolerant and accepting and actually encourage boys to do these types of things. The crazy thing is this. I don't see that same push for the girls. I don't see the same push for, that's why I say this is mostly towards boys that this agenda is coming in. It's mostly towards the boys. I don't see that many commercials encouraging girl children to wear a Bob the Builder costume or what have you, something more masculine. I don't see it, but I see this attack on the boys almost every day, almost daily, and it's getting worse. And if you have children out there, which I'm sure that the majority of us do, we have to protect our children against these types of spirits as well. Because, like I said, clothing is not just a rag you put on your back. Clothing brings certain energy, you know? So that's why I said, if you dress like a businesswoman, you might just end up in business positions that you just weren't expecting. It might just happen. Some businessman might see you dressed as a businesswoman and want to, network with you, might want to network with you, even though he doesn't know you, but you look the par. Dave Chappelle spoke on that a while back. He said something like, if I wore a police uniform and I was out in public and a robbery happened, would the people be wrong to come to me looking for me to do something about it? If I was wearing a police uniform, and am I supposed to say, well, I'm not a police officer. Like, why are you coming to me? I'm not a police officer. I'm just dressing this way because I feel like it. So, I don't know, guys. You tell me. Let me see. We have a super chat. Eugene says, as a Generation Xer, I can remember back in my younger days, I used to look, I used to look forward to going to clubs. Everybody looked great. In the club scene today, people are not as decked out. I'm assuming that means not as classy, not as good looking, maybe. And I can see this just in daily life. Just in daily life, I see that people have no care of how they look anymore. In fact, it's more like, oh, you're cool if you don't care about how you look. Let me see. I didn't get the link out yet. I want to put the link in the comment section. So if you do want to call in, feel free. Let me see if I can get the link. But yeah, Barry says, morning, Ameera. It is the Nas X effect that's affecting the young boys to their detriment. I don't really know who Nas X is. I have heard of him. I heard one song from him, and I'll share it with you guys. So the song that I heard, and I'm going to tell you, I love the song, but I don't know who Nas X is. I know he has been in some controversial positions, but I don't really know. All I know is that I heard this one song, and I'm going to share it with you guys. Ameera likes the song Old Town Road by Nas X and some country singer, I'm assuming. This song is incredibly good, in my opinion. And the bass on that song is so good when you're like, if you turn it up loud, it's really nice. So that's one song that I do like from this person, but I don't know exactly what he's doing that was bad. Maybe you guys can tell me. Sincerely Keys says, well, we serve a non-changing God. So do people make the rules as they go along? Oh my goodness, is this who you're talking about? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, Can we put that picture on just for one more second, please? Okay. All right, that's enough. Oh goodness. Okay, so looking at that picture, that speaks a lot on what I'm seeing today. Just God. Okay, so I've seen that in the fashion industry, they are trying to bring back the color pink as a unisex color. They don't want to say that pink is only for women. Fine. But did you see what this boy was wearing? He was wearing, it looked like sexual attire. Do you see you see that his chest is showing and it's like some see-through things, and he's wearing almost like a collar, like a dominant thing kind of. Oh my goodness. See, this is the kind of thing that, this is exactly right. Whoever made that comment, you're exactly right. That is scary. That's really scary because a lot of men, especially like younger boys who are influenced, they are seeing this. Guys, what are we doing to the boys? You guys have got to tell me what is happening with the boys. Wesley, what is happening with the boys?
Well, it seems to be an all-out attack on masculinity. I think the overall problem is not the mainstream of society, but the people that kind of control the information for the mainstream of society. One day decided, well, we're going to identify all of masculinity as toxic. If you want to make the argument that there are aspects of masculinity that can be toxic, well, yeah. If you want to make the argument that there's aspects of femininity that can be toxic, well, yes. But there are also there's positive and negative forms. They've just said that they just wanted to say that all feminine is automatically positive, all masculine is automatically negative, and that has sent the society into a major upheaval there. Because if you start telling, let me think here. So one of the tenets of psychology is that we have our mental models are only ours. I cannot look into your head and understand what your mental models of the world around you are. Uh, so when you start telling boys and girls that you're all the same, you're all the same, and these are the good qualities, these are the bad qualities. What happens is when a boy approaches a woman, he's interpreting that this female is supposed to be acting like a male, but it's not happening. And the female approaches the male, thinking that the male is supposed to be acting like she is.
Hmm.
But it doesn't happen. And it just causes a much greater confusion because nobody has a baseline anymore. But when you
So, what
start
do you think?
teaching, yeah, go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
Well, but if you, it's okay to tell kids that males and females are just inherently different on a biological level, and we want different things. We strive for different things. I remember for many years, uh, the theory behind homosexuality was if a small girl was playing with boys' toys, that means she's a lesbian. If a small boy is playing with girls' toys, it means he's gay. No, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And there was that question earlier as to did the child want to wear a dress? The child inherently wants to make the parents happy, and the child's mind is a constant state of play. So,
So, what do you think? I mean, I completely understand that, and you're right. You spoke on the desire for children to make their parents proud. And if a child thinks that this is going to make my parent proud because the parents are very much influenced by the modern culture, maybe they think that maybe daddy and mommy would like it if I wore a dress. But I want to speak about the spirits that come along with the clothing that we wear. When I speak about this, do you have any input regarding what I mean, what I see regarding the clothing that we wear and the energy that we put out because of said clothing? Because clothing is not just a rag on your back, it means something.
well, yeah, that's why you got to be careful with some of the things you wear. Let me think here. So when I was in Japan, there was this, the Japanese people are quite wonderful, and they'll occasionally wear something with a random English word and not know what it was. They just love the design of the shirt. Then they find out what the word is, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, I've been wearing this for 2 years." And on the flip side, wanted to get kanji tattooed on her, and she wanted the B word tattooed on her, but there is no direct translation. So the closest she could get was eternally pissed off. And so and I'm using that as a very, very raw form of understanding the energy that we're putting out. Yes, you we have all these phrases on our shirts and stuff. Everybody knows what "Let's go Brandon" means. Okay, we are putting that out there. People are putting that out there intentionally, but there's a lot of other things that have different verbiage and different meanings. We one of the I think one of the lies we're told is we're told that well these things don't matter. Here, let me fix the red. There. We're told that these things don't matter. They do matter. You know, the songs you hear on the radio do matter. I have my girls in the car. There's songs I will listen to if they're not there, but if my kids are with me, I'll change the station, and they know
That's
that there's
crazy
certain things.
because Cardi B, she makes music that is completely disgusting, but she wouldn't dare have her daughter in the room while said music is playing. Did you hear about that? When her daughter is in the room, she will not play her music. I wanted to ask you, have you heard of a company called TG? I can't say the word, but it's TIEGE, and they make men's like face washes. There it is. So I know the name is kind of hard to pronounce, but they make really good skincare for the face. Have you heard about that? Because men typically don't take care of their faces.
Well, I think it's good for old people to have good hygiene and try to and you part of the way you love yourself is to take care of yourself. So I know there's a lot of men that think it's masculine to get the cheapest shampoo they can get, and then they get dandruff and they don't care.
Mhm. Yep.
No, man. You need something different. Get some Perk Plus or something. Like you
Well,
need something different. You gotta take care of yourself.
this company is really good because it's very affordable, but it's very high quality. And they are sponsors of the Lapeef Network. And I want to thank our sponsor, TJ. I want to call it
Okay.
TJ.
Well, I
Thank you
didn't
so
know
much,
what
TJ Henry.
you're pushing there, but I actually do try to take care of myself, and you know, I've been able, thankfully, because I understood how to hold on. When I was a teenager, no one was there to help me, so I had to figure out a lot of things on my own, and
Mm,
I just had skin that was very prone to being not pretty.
mm.
So, and my kids got that too. So I've been able to help my daughters, you know, with their facial care. But yes, proper hygiene is important. It's okay. It's not a lack of masculinity to want to use a facial peel. It
It's not.
actually it helps your pores a lot.
Exactly. And that's why I think it is important for men to see a company that's geared towards them because men typically don't take care of their faces at all. And I think it's really good that TJ, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but this company is really good for that. And they also have a certain, it's kind of like a microfiber. I want to call it microfiber, but it's like a rag that they give you with your purchase. It's like really soft and really good for the face. But thank you so much, Wolf, for coming on. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think it's funny that we all got by Lil Nas X because that song got all of us, and then later on he starts coming out, and that's one of the other things. That was a really good song.
It really was. It really
Then
was. And I
afterwards
didn't
he
know
starts
he looked like
openly
that.
praising Satan. He starts openly praising Satan in all his music, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Like, no, it's not.
No, it's really not. Thank you so much, Wolf, for joining me today.
Happy to be here. Bye.
Thank you. Happy Halloween. Hi, Jessica. How are you? Can you hear me?
Here. Bye.
Thank you. Happy Halloween. Jessica, try to listen
Hello,
from.
can you hear me okay?
I hear you, but it's going to be a delay
Can you
because
hear
you're
me? Yes, I
listening
can hear
through.
you.
You're listening through YouTube. I need you to
Can you
listen through
hear me
StreamYard.
okay? I know
I
that.
hear you, but it's going to be a delay
Can you
because
hear
you're
me? Yes, I
listening
can hear
through.
you.
You're listening through YouTube. I need you to listen through StreamYard. Try to turn off YouTube. Just Kia. Turn off YouTube, please.
Did that
Can you
work?
hear? Yep. Can you hear me now?
No? Did that work?
Yes, I hear you. Do you hear me? I'm sorry about that. Maybe just try to get it together and come back. All right, thank you. Hi, Ray.
Hey
How are you
Ameera, how you
doing?
doing?
Good. What do you have on the topic today?
Well, I think you hit the topic dead on. You're definitely right about how they dress now. I think it's more feminizing our little boys. You know, society is the way they're portion things. They're definitely trying to feminize our little boys, and it's basically on the parents. The parents, they have to step up and hold on, son. They have to step up and they have to teach the kids, especially the little boys, that it's not wrong to be a man or to
Right,
be a young boy.
right.
Just like some things like when it comes to like hyperactivity, where they try to feminize our boys and say, oh, let's take this so you can be a little calmer and things like that. But actually, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get little boys to be like little girls. Boys are hyper naturally because of the testosterone that they have in their bodies.
Correct.
So they have a lot of energy.
Right.
Of
Do you
course, little
know?
girls are. I'm sorry,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
No, go
Were
ahead.
you finished?
No, I'm good. I'm listening to you.
Okay. Do you know that I looked this up because we spoke about this in the Lapeef Let's Talk show once,
Right.
and I believe they were speaking about how most of the teachers today are female, and someone brought up the fact that, well, they said it was a fact, but through research I found out that it's not a fact, but they said that the majority of teachers have always been female, and I found out that that's not true. That there was a time when the majority of teachers were men, and
Right.
thinking about the effect that that had on all children, not just boys, but on female children as well. Because when you see a male in a position of power as well as a teacher, it 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 does something to the female child as well, because she recognizes men as the teacher, the guider, the person to listen to and obey. And with boys, they get treated with more patience because men typically know how to handle boy energy easier.
Exactly.
They know how to deal with boys easier because they were a boy themselves. They understand them.
Did you
So
see that?
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Did you see the story in Louisiana about the fathers?
The
There was
which
a
one?
bunch of fights. There was a bunch of fights down in Louisiana. Look it up. There was a bunch of fights going on like in the past couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
So
No, I know. I know. There's a
yeah,
lot of parents very upset with the school system.
what the fathers got together and they went to the schools and all the fights died down since then. So that
Mm-hmm.
lets you know that we need more male influences as teachers in the schools because, I'm not taking nothing away from the women, but I think male teachers, just I mean, just the sight of seeing another man may calm some of the kids down because you need
Correct.
that male authority there.
Correct.
And that's why it's important to have males in the household because males bring structure and they also naturally kids, they kind of simmer down when it comes to like the father figures in the household.
That is so true. And that's why I say men are so important. And what we have going on today with the boys being just can you mute? Okay, she's muted. Okay. But what we have going on with the boys today as well, the pushing boys into dresses, into princess dresses. This
Yeah.
is something that it bothers me to my core. When I just saw that just right now, a little boy came to our door, trick or
Mm,
treat. I opened the door. I'm excited to see a little boy in a Superman costume, and I saw him in a
wow.
Cinderella dress.
Wow.
I wanted to curse out the parent and slam the door, but I said, the child is there. The child, I just looked at the parent. I just looked at the parent. I didn't even look at the boy anymore because I was like, you're lucky your son is here. So it's making me mute myself right now that your son is here. I don't want to embarrass you in front of your kid, but wow.
That's what's wrong today. You got parents that are actually kids raising kids, and then they're letting society raise their kids. Like people like let's say Russell Westbrook. Who's supposed to be like a male role model.
Hmm.
You know, he's wearing dresses, and now this is starting to be a trend where yes, he's been wearing a dress, and he's talking about this is a fashion statement. That's not a fashion statement. I don't care what you say. Men are not supposed to be wearing dresses, period, or skirts.
I told you about the certain etiquette and spirit that comes with the clothing that you wear. And I know people may hear that word and think, oh, that's too off base, Ameera. We're talking about spirits. It is a thing because women, we tend to act a certain way when we're in dresses versus if we wear trousers. So thinking about a man in a dress, how is that man going to feel wearing a dress? If women, we know how we feel when we wear dresses, does that
Right.
make him feel the same way that we feel as women? That bothers me to my core. And I know people were going to argue, well, the Scottish wear kilts. And it's like a kilt is not the same thing as a dress.
Not. Plus, it's cultural. No woman that is a feminine woman, and even if you have a little masculinity in you, you're not going to accept a man in a dress, let alone a man that has feminine traits. So that's the same. It's vice versa. Men feel the same way when it comes to a masculine woman.
Hmm.
So you can't expect if you don't expect a man if you don't expect a man to have feminine traits, you can't expect a man also to accept a woman with masculine traits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with today. It's like they're trying to switch the roles on us today. They want women to be men, like men, and they want men to be like women.
Mm-hmm.
Get connected with your feminine energy. Oh, please.
Do you see, like, do you know Hillary Clinton? I'm sure you know Hillary Clinton. Everybody knows her.
Yeah.
So Hillary Clinton, she was scrutinized for a long time because she wore more pants than her husband, more pantsuits than her husband. So, and people were saying that that's a very masculine thing. And you see how she turned out to be. As she got older, she just became more and more manly to the point where she thought that she could run the country and just,
True.
and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And it's not that a woman can't run a country in a dress. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying it comes with a certain energy. A woman who doesn't know how to be feminine and wear a dress. If you see a woman that wears pants or trousers 7 days out of the week, later on something might come of that, and people don't see
Kamala's
it.
the same way. Kamala Harris is the same way.
Same
I
exact
guarantee
way.
she leads her household too.
Yes. I have never seen a woman in a dress.
I've never seen her in a dress, ever.
That's scary.
Maybe she has, but I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either. No.
So,
You're not the only one. Thank you so much, Ray. I'm going to see if we can try to get Jess back. Thank you. Jess, how are you doing? Are you better?
I think so. Is that right?
You're good. I hear you just fine.
I'm so sorry. Like right before I noticed the live, my son came here and kind of set up things a little bit different for me. So I apologize so much. So embarrassing. But
it happens to the best of us.
I'm new to all of this. And I apologize. I didn't get the beginning of the live, but I heard you discussing about maybe a commercial and a young boy dressed in girl clothes or outfit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were sharing that, I was thinking of a conversation that I just had with my daughter. And I was taking her to school and we was watching this movie the night before. And as we were driving, she's like, oh, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. And I noticed like she has been saying that a lot. She's 14. And so I said, do you think boys are pretty or girls? Kind of that. She's like, boys, like, I don't, And I'm like, oh. And then so I pushed it a little bit further. And I was like, well, do you think you like girls? She goes, I don't know, maybe. And then so we're having this conversation. She goes, well, maybe I'm bi. And I go, what? And I'm like, where did she get this from? So we're just having a conversation and then it goes on. And I said, well, where are you getting these thoughts from? And so she mentioned the movie we had watched the night before. And she said, yeah, there were two girls in there. And I said, it was. And I started thinking I didn't even pay attention to it really. And I thought, oh, yes, it was. And I said, but there was a married couple in there as well. And then she's like, oh, they were married. I was like, yeah, they had two quick kids. So she goes back. She's like, well, the two girls look more happy because the way they portrayed the lesbian couple, very intimate, very appealing. And when I thought back to the movie, she was right. And then with the married couple, they never even showed them hold hands or anything. And the only reason they're married because they had two kids and, they were in this business. So I was thinking about that. And it was just the other day how it is portrayed now in media and how it's presented. And me, I was like, I didn't even pay attention to that and how that's what stuck out in her mind was the two girls together seemed like they were happy. That's what she said.
I want to ask you just a few questions.
Yeah.
In your situation, you're a very beautiful woman. I wanted to ask you, are you married?
Divorced, yes.
You're divorced? Okay. And the child, you said she's 14. Yes. I am sorry to hear about that. And I do pray for her guidance that, God will guide her back the proper way because it's mostly in the schools that this is happening. Is she, I'm assuming she goes to school. She's not homeschooled, right?
No, she goes to a leadership academy. And that's another thing. The girls are in one class and the boys are, in another because they advocate that boys and girls learn differently.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's really good. And they wear uniforms and stuff, so it's structured.
Right. That's kind of my school. That's kind of how I grew up as well, because I grew up in a private school, mostly private school all my life, and I went to public school a little bit in high school. But so I understand exactly that environment, and I think that that's the best environment for children, honestly, is that boys and girls be separated. But the problem is that in the schools, I don't know if you're active in her school, but if you notice,
not really.
See, that the schools, the public schools today, and even private schools are getting rushed with this. They are promoting this lifestyle. You know that. You've seen the commercials on TV. I just told a story about right now. Halloween is today, and a little boy came to my door wearing a Cinderella dress.
Oh, I missed that part. Okay. Wow.
Yes. This is running rampant, and we have to protect our children, because the children, this is in the movies. We are not paying attention to it because we don't, I think that we think differently, but we're not paying attention to it as much as we should. But the children are noticing these little signs, these subtle signs in the movies. Just like you said, they portray the married couple as boring, cold to one another, and the lesbian couple as, oh, this is just the best way to be.
Yes, it really did.
Rampant. And what do you think about clothing? So the topic was about clothing. So what do you think about the energy that clothing can bring? Have you seen that effect on your daughter, or have you seen that in her school?
Well, my daughter, she dresses actually like oversized sweatpants and shirts. And every time we go out, they think she's a boy because she puts the hood on. But that's more so because she's extremely shy, like over the top shy. She won't even really speak to people. But as far as energy in the clothes, I've never thought about that. But it's weird now that you mention it. With a boy dressing as a girl, I would think more so it could be damaging, or because your clothes projects your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself and how you carry yourself. But as far as energy, I never thought of it that way.
Well, if you think about even in your daughter's situation and how you said that she's wearing clothing that is more baggy, a little bit more boyish, more tomboyish, and that people mistake her for a boy, that is speaking on the energies that I'm talking about, that this brings a certain spirit to her that she feels a little bit more masculine, possibly. Is she involved in sports?
No. Well, she ran track last year, and I think she's going to do it this year as well. But no, she's very feminine. She's very, very girly. She has an older brother. Her brother is 3 years older than her, and she really looks up to him. And she's very thin, and she just says the clothes are more comfortable. She doesn't like tight-fitting clothes. So her thing is comfort, and she likes the hair and the lip gloss. So she's not masculine at all, but she just likes baggy clothes, oversized. And she does. It's like hoodies and sweats, and she put the hood on, and yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because Aaliyah, do you remember the singer Aaliyah?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Aaliyah was kind of the same way, and I guess that for her situation, I guess her boyfriend at the time, I guess R. Kelly.
Husband, I don't know.
Husband, boyfriend, jail, whatever it was. Whatever was happening back then, I guess he was influencing her to dress a certain way because he didn't want her to be seen as something. So when you speak about that, I think about Aaliyah, but at the same time, I can't find the word right now, but I cannot deny the fact that the clothing has an impact on how she feels and how she's acting. And if you said that she could be possibly interested in girls, I don't know, but can I ask you to, this is just advice. This is only advice. You can hear it and let it go out the other ear.
Absolutely.
If you have a good bond with your daughter, can you try to influence her to maybe wear dresses a little bit more, and maybe take her to areas where she can see couples, married people that are happy. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe
Yeah.
more
Well,
family, if you have more family, just to kind of gear her. Because right now, I believe that she's at a crossroad. Because in school, she's probably being taught that this is a good thing to be to be open to. There's rainbow flags everywhere in schools now. Do you know how bad that is for our children? What kind of
right.
impact it's having on them? So this is just
Well,
advice from a person who is growing up right now, and this is what I
Well,
see.
you know, I'm very household. I'm very faith based, and you know, she knows her word, the Bible, and sometimes, you know, we have that relationship where it's very open, where she can discuss anything with me and be open about it.
Mhm.
Truly, I don't think, you know, she's interested in girls like that. But
Hopefully
of
not.
course, I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
But and you know, influence her. But it was more so the thinking of what I see was going on. I have the freedom to think this way. You know how
Correct.
people say.
Correct.
Like the pansexuals and all this, it's
Right.
just a matter of voicing that you understand that I understand that I have this freedom.
Right. It could be an option.
Exactly. That's what she said. Because she'll go like, I could be, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's the vibe that I got more so when she was talking about the girls. But what impacted me more was we're sitting up watching this same movie, and my impression was totally different. I didn't even, and as soon as she said it, I went back to those scenes. And it was more appealing. And that's what kind of impacted me more, like what's being pressed upon us in watching things, and even in commercials and stuff. That's what I thought you were talking about, a commercial. But it was just the impressions that's being portrayed. And then I purposely looked into a couple of other movies when I got back home just to look at it, to see how they portray married couples. And out of 5 movies, it was like one, and I'll say 1.5, that kind of portrayed the married couple happy and, you know, affectionate and intimate with each other. And then the other thing, it was always kind of a homosexual activity, like in every movie. It was
There
just
is. There is. There's been an extreme push recently. This is why I
yeah.
don't know what I would do, because I have my stepdaughters, and they are about almost getting to that age as well. So
Wow.
the things that I'm just very strict. I'm very strict with them because I cannot have them being influenced. But for us, the culture is different. You speak about being a godly woman. In our house, we make the girls wear dresses, we make them cook, we make them clean, we make them read the Quran, we make them we make them think a certain way, because we know the influence that the school is having on them. We don't let any rainbows in our house. There's no rainbows. There's no talk about LGBT anything. That is not acceptable. I mean, I know maybe some houses aren't as strict like that, but this is how we do it, in order to let our children know that this is not appropriate and it will not be accepted.
But being that strict, and just a question,
Yeah.
and you say you don't even allow that talk into your house. So isn't that like, even though you're that strict, and I'm sure they go out and get impressions from other sources, you know, at some point.
Definitely.
So with that thinking, I would think they wouldn't even feel comfortable coming back talking to you about it if you're that strict, to not even allow the talk in your household, right? You
But
know,
what I'm saying about talking about it, what I mean is we don't talk about it in a positive light. Anytime that I do speak about it, I let the children know what it is, because they come to me with questions. They have questions. They ask like, Ameera, what does this rainbow mean? What color of the rainbow means this? And I explain to them the proper way. I show them evidence of what I'm saying, and I let them know the agenda. I let them know what is being pushed on them and why it's being pushed on them.
Yeah.
They understand. Children understand more than we give them credit for. Now, me, I'm a very conservative. Right. I'm a very conservative person, and they know this. But at the same time, never do I make them feel like scared to come speak. because I'm not beating them or, doing anything crazy, but I will let them know the right way and what's proper and what's not. And they know that there's an agenda now. And now they see it without me even speaking about it. Now, when we watch movies, we went to the movies. We went to go see, what was it? I don't know. It was one of the kids' movies. I forget. But we went to go see a kids' movie. And even in that movie, they had some of that LGBT agenda. The kids elbowed me and said, Ameera, that's what you were talking about. Remember we were talking? And I said, you see what I'm saying? I tell them, you see, you understand. The kids know. You have to point it out to them. You have to be honest. Tell them the agenda that's happening. So they don't just sit there and think that this is proper, because the schools will make it seem like that.
So may I ask you a question? Suppose you say you have two daughters?
Yes.
So suppose one of them did, through all your efforts, they still come back to you, one of them. And believe me, I do not wish this. I just would like to know your opinion. And, say that I am bi or interested in women. What would be your response to them or her?
That's a very stressful question. But be accepting of everything. This is why I'm here. So thank you for presenting me that question. So if this were to happen, I pretty much know what would end up happening. If this was the case, what will most likely happen is that whoever she chooses to be with will not be invited to the home. They will not be allowed to come to the house. We probably won't disown the child herself, because we want to keep eye on our family. We want to make sure that the family is fine, but we will not be accepting or tolerant of any partners of the same sex at all in the home. So she would have to have her relationship outside and away, and there will be no talk about the relationship in this house.
Oh, she can't even talk about the relationship in the house, or in the person wouldn't even be allowed. Right. You wouldn't even be introduced to that person or anything.
No, reason being is because we have other younger family members, and we do not want that kind of influence around the younger ones. So if you decide to go the Satanist way, you decide to go the wrong way, okay, but you will keep that out of the home. In the home, you will be a proper lady when you come in. You will not come in here acting like a man. You will wear a hijab, you will wear a dress, whatever have you. You will come proper to the home. And whatever you want to do outside of here, that's your decision.
And then if she would push you to the point to where she's choosing her lover, or, whoever it may be, would you say goodbye? Like, if she's like, it's either you have to have her here as well, or accept my relationship, or I'm gone, would you let her go?
I would pray for her to see the light one day. I would be on my knees praying. My knees will be very black from praying every night for her to find the right direction. But at the same time, we would not, there will be no, we just can't do it. We can't do it. There's no bending of the rules with that. So yes.
So there would be no relationship.
I mean, that would be her decision. That wouldn't be ours, because we wouldn't be the ones saying, go away, get out of here. We wouldn't do that, but that would be her decision. So we would have to respect her decision. But at the same time, no, we're not going to bend the rules because you're threatening to not have a relationship with us. Now no, because that seems like a threat to me. That seems like a quid pro quo, and we don't do that here.
No, I don't think it would be like a threat. I would think that if a child or at that point they would be an adult, would come to you as like they have to live their life, and then that is a choice. Not to say, it could be a phase or whatever it might be, and it might not be a phase. So given what you just said, okay, so she says, no, okay, well, I'm going to go be and live my life and do, what I need to do right now. Okay. And then, so suppose she breaks up with the person and she contacts you. At that point, then you would talk to her again.
I mean, I wouldn't have stopped talking to her in the first place. I mean, that's our kid. I would never stop talking to her in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I think the problem is, The problem that we're facing now in America, and this is what I speak about a lot on my channel, is the acceptance. We are not only accepting, but we are also promoting. And not only are we promoting, we are encouraging. So this is where we have to have a line. You know, I cannot accept it. And I think this is a problem that we have here. We have too many parents that are just like, well, it's okay, you know, you can bring your partner to dinner. And then what happens is the younger children see that their elder brother, elder sister, cousin, or so on, they have this kind of relationship and it's acceptable. So the other children become more open to it as well. And it's a whole snowball effect. So the reason I say this is because I don't think it's proper to shun or completely disown a family member. But at the same time, you have to have limits and boundaries. You cannot just let anything fly in your house. You have to have standards. This is what parents do. Parents are supposed to set the standard. We're not supposed to let the children run wild and think that everything is okay. So,
but what about when they become adults? You've done all that, you know, you're saying about the influence of the younger children in the household and everything. So that's why you want to allow the same couple in there. Okay, so once they become adults, they're going to experience this thing out in the real world one way or another. So do you think that they will be prepared once they go out there? Meaning, once life is presented to you and you see that there's options, because once they're out there on their own, they're going to know, oh, this option is out here, you know, and then they're going to do innately whatever is embedded in them, seeing it or not. If they want to, you know, play around or, you know, what do they call it? Like experiment or whatever. It's like going to happen regardless if it's, you know, if that's their position. But shielding them from it, you think that would just protect them from making those choices by just not showing it to them?
I don't think you heard me because I never said anything about shielding. I told you. I speak open and honestly to the children. I let them know the agenda. I let them know what's there and what's promoted and that it's wrong. But shielding and saying that it doesn't exist, like don't look over there, I'm not going to do that. The children will see it no matter what. Their father wants to.
So why couldn't your daughter and her girlfriend, if that was the case, come to the house then? You're telling them that you don't agree with this, but, you know, this is part of life and this is, you know, an option that is out there. So why not allow your daughter and whoever that partner is be there, but still let it know we don't agree with this. But, you know, you're still our daughter. We love you. And you express to the younger kids as well. And you see it right in front of them. We don't agree. But this is family, if that's what you want to say. You have your choices. You're going to see this when you go out there or whatever the case may be. You know, and present yourself and your side, and you and your husband is in front of the masses of the family to show like we're a loving couple. We love each other. We are the example. We don't agree with that, but we still love her. And this is part of life.
Yeah. People listen to what you, then people, they don't listen to what you say. They listen to what you do. And saying I don't agree while still having this person over at dinner that's a contradiction. If I don't agree, you will not be in my home. So I want to ask you, because you seem very interested in what kind of solutions we can have to children that have chosen this path. What would you do if your daughter came home and said that?
Oh, if she was to come home and tell me that, actually, that day we had this part of the conversation, and she knows that I believe it's wrong. I believe it's a sin. I don't believe that's what we're created for. We had the conversation. As women, we're here to procreate and get married, and she knows I believe in the order and everything. However, if she was to decide to go that way, I told her that I wouldn't accept it and I wouldn't approve, but I still will love you. And then so she's looking at me like kind of sad. And I said, however, I said, it's just like if you was to go out there and have a boyfriend and you guys had premarital sex, I wouldn't approve of that either. I would be disappointed with that as well. So it's not like, to me, one sin is here, the other one's here. Now, if you murder someone, oh my gosh, no. But if you go steal something, I can tolerate that. It's all the same, according, if we're going biblical, and that's what I'm standing on. So I will still love her. I will still, voice how I feel about it and my belief on it and what the Bible says, but that's with any sin as well. So I would allow her I would accept her choosing to explore that lifestyle. And
So
I would still love her.
basically, you are okay with it, because even though you say you're not, you're still going to allow it to happen, and you're still going to say, well, I'm still going to love, as you say, which basically means accept. You're basically still going to accept it. So this is what I mean.
Choice. I'm accepting her choice. Yes.
So you're still accepting it, essentially.
I'm accepting her choice. And I'm also having faith that, like you said, me's black, and still praying for her and praying that, it's just a phase, or she would come around, or whatever the case may be. I would express to her that living in sin, that's the ultimate thing. You're living in this sin, just like anyone that's living with their boyfriend and girlfriend. They're living in sin if they call themselves a believer or a Christian. It's that part is where the issue is. The issue isn't that you just chose to be with this woman. The issue is living in that sin is my problem. And I would pray for her, but I would support her.
I've seen this a lot with Christians, the new age Christians. I've seen this a lot, that there's this, I'm serious. This is a very new age thing where it's kind of like, I don't agree. I don't like it, but I still will let you hear, and I would just let you know that I don't agree, but I'll still let anything go in my house. What would our father have to say about this?
I would not allow them, like, in my house they can come over and have dinner and be the couple that they are, but I wouldn't allow them in.
Ma'am, I have to say that's accepting.
No, I would accept it, but I wouldn't accept. Oh, I thought you meant like be there, like to live together or something. No way, not that.
So that's where you draw the line, is living with you.
No, that's just respecting my home. I wouldn't allow whatever you're a grown woman, and if that's what you're choosing to do, you have to go to your own spot. But I would allow them into my home, have dinner. I would want to meet her, of course, because I'm going to support my child. Absolutely.
I see.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you really quickly, her father, what would he have to say about that? Is he accepting of this?
No, he wouldn't, but I don't want to really speak for him, but he doesn't agree with it at all. But he's also not living in a faith-based state, of being. So it wouldn't even be that. It would just be like that old typical men thing, like ill, homo, and saying these insults, which are totally inappropriate as well. So he wouldn't like it, but to articulate that, I couldn't express what he would say on that level. If you kind of know, I'm trying to say it without disrespecting her dad, but I just don't think he would be able to articulate why it is an issue with him, but he would not agree at all.
Is he involved? You know what? We're going too far. That's okay. We'll just leave it there.
Ask me whatever you want.
Yeah, because I'm just really curious if if he has a high impact on her. Is he someone that she respects dearly? Like my father chose my husband. Well, he presented my husband to me, and I said yes. But
I remember that story.
So this is kind of the respect that I have for my father. If my father saw someone that wasn't right for me, and he told me, you will not marry this person, I will not marry that person, and that's it. See? So I was just wondering, does her father have that same type of power over her, or is it kind of just like, well, we just kind of let it happen, and whoever she chooses, and like the new age Christian? I know you don't like it. That's why I said it again.
No, it's fine. I'm just trying to figure out what is the new age Christian, but
You want to know?
yeah, absolutely. Yes, I would.
Okay. So what I see, now this is just my view. You can correct me if I'm wrong because I'm always welcome to being wrong. My view of the New Age Christian is this. The Christians that I know that are Orthodox, that are mostly in Romania and Eastern Europe, because remember, my family came from Russia, so we know very much strict Christians, and they act like Muslims. The women cover their heads, especially when they're in the church. They do not eat pork. They follow their rules to the T of the Bible. And when they follow their rules to the T, they end up looking like Muslims. They look just like us. So these are the Christians that I'm kind of accustomed to knowing from younger. When I see American Christians, I see people that do not. I went to a Christian church maybe 2 years ago with one of my best friends. She took me to a church. I saw very much the opposite of what I saw regarding the Orthodox Christians. I saw Christians eating pig. I saw Christians in the church without the girls, the women, they didn't have their hair covered. They were wearing shorter skirts. The skirts were to their knees, some a little bit higher than me. Chest area showing in the church house. It just didn't seem like they were following the book as they should. And now that's only appearances. When we get down to morals and values, I've noticed that many Christians today are very accepting of things that are very much evil in their book, like the LGBT. The Christian church that I went to recently, they had the LGBT flag flying outside of the church house. They are basically saying that they are welcoming the LGBT, which is obviously an abomination in Christianity, but just in the idea of being accepting and loving. They basically saying we will accept and love everyone. It doesn't matter. This is a New Age Christian. What do you think?
So that's not how I define myself as a Christian at all. To me, what you just described is religion. And it's like rules and you do this and this and this. Me, when I say I'm a Christian, that solely means that I have accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And he done this for me because I'm unable to. I don't have a set of rules like you have to dress like this and you have to do that. You do what you do because of your love for Christ. Because of what he done for you. He died on the cross for you so you can have this relationship with God, with your heavenly Father. In accepting him as your Savior, I believe that you get the gift of the Holy Spirit that lives inside of you. And that is what you can say like your moral compass, if you want to, use it that way.
Okay.
I don't subscribe to rules. We don't live by the Old Testament. I believe that was there a different time, and that's there for examples, and it's there to learn from these relationships and to grow from there. But I live by the New Testament, which solely is my belief in Jesus Christ and what he done for me at the cross, and choosing me to believe in him. I know there's no way that we're perfect, but because of what he did, God sees me through Christ, which makes me perfect in his eye. I don't live in sin. So I'm not going to go out there intentionally doing people wrong, intentionally stealing. I'm not drinking, because it's not good to my spirit. It doesn't feel good. I still have that sinful nature in me, of course. I still make mistakes, of course, because if you have those rules and the minute that you wear your skirt too short, is that questioning my salvation? Is that questioning I'm not going to have this relationship with him? I couldn't live by that faith. I have a faith that's so assured that I already know that I am going to heaven, that I'm going to spend eternity with God because of what Jesus did. It's a grace. It's the grace of God. And that's what I live by, his amazing grace. No rules. No, it's just like I have tattoos. It'd be like, oh my gosh, you're going to hell because you got tattoos. Well, then, because I made that mistake, if you want to call it mistake, I don't. But so that means I can never be saved. I can never, go to hell. I mean, yeah, go to heaven. I would go to hell because of some rule that we don't live by, because we don't go and slay a lamb or something to get repentance for our sins. And, we don't do that. He did all that for us. So that is previous. I don't live by those.
And that's exactly fitting of the definition that I gave you of a New Age Christian. Basically, no matter what I've done, it's okay because I can still be saved no matter what. And I believe in salvation, of course, but to the idea of like, there's no rules, we don't believe in the rules. It's very much a New Age Christian.
Your rules is your moral compass. Your rules is what you live by. That's your spirit. That's your conviction. You want to live right because you are a representative of Christ. And because you don't want to do wrong. It's because you don't want to, not that you don't have to, because no matter what, once you're saved, you're saved. So that's resolved. That issue is off the table once you accept Christ, Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Okay, so that's set aside. Now, how are we going to live? Okay, now when you choose him and you get the gift of the Holy Spirit, you choose to live better. You choose to make better decisions. You choose to be a person of character that influence and, encourage other people and share his word. But my salvation is already assured because there's nothing I can do for that. And it's already done.
Jess, I wanted to, I hear what you're saying completely. Cora has a question for you. Cora, welcome in. And I saw that you had a question for Mrs. Jess, please.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. Thank you, Ameera, for taking my call. I've been cringing for the last 10 minutes.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
No, not you. But I just, first of all, want to give honor to JR for hosting this network. I love it. And thank you, Ameera. And how do you say your name? Is it Kaya?
It's Kaya. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the dialogue. I really appreciate it. I do have a question for you about something you said, and I think it's very telling when you were talking about when you were referring to your daughter's father, when you said that you don't think that he can articulate the point of why he's against that type of lifestyle. For me, just my opinion, I think the father or someone who I chose to have, just speaking from what, how I see things, a man that I chose to have a child by, I would trust him enough to be able to guide my daughter or son in that instance, the right way. So that's just how I see it. And to say that he couldn't, you don't think that he could necessarily articulate why he doesn't agree with that lifestyle. I think that kind of threw him under the rug or brushed his intelligence off. That's how it came across to me. Another question is, or another statement. I don't know if your daughter is saved or not, and I definitely agree with you with what you said about salvation. As far as it's not, as soon as you sin, you lose your salvation. If you do something good, you gain it again. I do believe once we're saved, we're always saved. It's not of our works. However, as a mom, I believe that women should always encourage their daughters and sons, their children, to do what is right, and not to accept what is wrong or evil or an abomination according to scripture. What do you think about that, accepting the act of an abominable sin according to scripture?
What do you mean by abominable sin then?
Homosexuality is abominable according to the Bible.
And abominable means you're what? Separated, or you're not saved? What does it mean?
Non-forgivable.
Non-forgivable. Okay, so at that point, so we're saying that there is one thing according to Christ that he didn't die for then, right? He didn't die for the abominable sin, right? Is that what you're saying?
So no, that's not what I was particularly saying, but in the book of Romans 1 does tell us that those kind of acts shows that is just a representation that the person has, and I'm not saying your daughter does. So please don't take it that way, but the person has a reprobate mind. And the Bible says that someone or something that is reprobate is rejected, right?
Mhm.
So the Romans 1 says that all these different things that somebody that has a reprobate mind would be willing to do. So to save or try to save a child from going in that direction, I would definitely encourage steering them far away from that type of mindset. So yes, an abomination is like one of the worst sins before God. There are different levels to sin, right?
Okay.
A child stealing a piece of candy is not the same as a child, or not, I don't want to say a child, but coming into teen years and exploring and having sexual relations, a girl with another girl. But in the book of John, it does say he who has the greater sin. So we know that sins are at different levels. What do you think about that?
Yes, my daughter is saved, and she accepted Christ a year and a half ago. And as far as that, okay, so it goes back to, for me, and I heard everything you said about Romans and things, but Christ died for all sins. I don't believe, and we have to use everything that you said in context, what Paul was talking about, and what he was saying about that sin and abomination and the scripture you use. So you always have to go back to the context of why it was being used and what was he talking about, what was in that letter. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know for sure you have to use it within context. Okay, so with that being said, my belief is no matter what, Jesus Christ died for all sins. One sin is not greater than the other. And so with that being said, of course, I do believe there is rewards in heaven and different levels. I don't understand fully how that's going to work. So I truly believe how you live here plays a part into that. But one sin is not greater than another, in my opinion. Just like I said with my daughter, if she was to have a boyfriend and they were having premarital sex, I wouldn't approve of that. But I'm not going to disown her, because the Bible also says, do not have premarital sex. So am I, going to be pushing her on that? She has to make her own decisions. I can't be saved for her. She has to go through life and get these hard knocks and get some life experience. And that's what helped build character, build wisdom when you make mistakes and you get the outcome, of whatever that decision is. But just because of homosexuality, I don't deem that as like, oh, they're demons, or because they're choosing that lifestyle, that they're any less of a person than I am.
Can I say something? I just want to say something to you, because I hear what you're saying, and I kind of understand what you're trying to say. But I just wanted to bring this up to you. Your daughter grew up in this environment with you talking this way, kind of having this view of Christianity and God, of kind of like, God, I can't really describe how I see it. I see it almost like we can do no wrong, essentially, because once we've been saved, everything is okay, and every sin is the same. But if your daughter grew up in this environment and seeing her mother speak this way, don't you think it kind of ingrained something with her? When did you divorce from your husband? How old was your daughter when you guys divorced?
12. I've been divorced like a year and a half right now.
Oh, so this was recent. Okay.
Mhm.
And you said her father was not very spiritual. He wasn't very grounded in his
No,
spirituality.
it's not that he is not spiritual, but going back to what Cora was saying, and I made the decision to marry this man and have children with him. He's not the most intelligent. He's, doesn't feed his brain, doesn't seek to improve himself and do better and learn and things like that.
So what didn't he know that he needed to know that would make, in your view, make him seem intelligent?
What does he need to know? He's okay. So I don't feel he's educated or intellectual level is above a teenager, in a sense.
So, if I can, Ameera,
Go ahead, Laura, feel free.
just for me, just my opinion and what I teach students who ask me, like I told you that I'm a teacher, but if they ever ask me about relationships and stuff, I would never encourage someone to marry and then have children or a child by someone who she would deem at the intellectual level of a teenager. Like for me, I would think, like, why would you have a child with someone who couldn't even raise a child because of their intellect?
You can
Not
raise a
only
child
did you-
without intellect, but okay. So just a little input then. So I made a choice to marry this man because I believe that he would mature over time, years. I've been knowing him since we were 13. He was my first boyfriend. And as time went on, I discovered that all he did was smoke weed every day. And then I'm like, wait, hold up, and then so the brain cells and common sense things, just kind of in a state of not feeding yourself intellectually is what I'm speaking of when I say that him articulating himself to my daughter. So, and one of the reasons why I'm not with him anymore, but I'm sorry, she keeps, yeah, daughter.
You want me to wash my hair?
No, I'm on live. You get out of here. Yes. Okay. We talked to her. So,
Jess, I wanted to say something really quickly because we do have another guest in here. We have Kevin Samuels.
Oh my gosh.
Kevin Samuels is here. Hi, Mr. Kevin Samuels.
Hi, Mr. Samuels.
Hello.
Hello. How are you all doing?
We can't hear you that well. Maybe the mic is low.
Okay, hold on just a second. Just a second.
Gosh, y'all bringing the big guns on me, huh?
Well, I didn't know this was gonna happen, Jess. I guess.
Me either. I actually have been trying to avoid being on the show with Kevin Samuels.
1 minute, Cora. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Hello? Is that better?
Oh, yes.
Is that better?
A little bit better. Just a little bit better.
Hold on. Something's going on. There's an update going on, but how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well.
Good,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's where it is. All right, let's see about that. How about there? Test.
Got it. Yep, you're good.
All right, so we're discussing dress accordingly.
Yes.
And all right, well, let's get it. I heard things about image, dressing, and Christianity, and I'm a Christian image
That's all
consultant.
you. Yeah. No. Okay, so Kevin, basically.
First of all, I want to clear something up about this notion that there is no greater or lesser sin. Actually, there is greater or lesser sin. God outlines it clearly in Proverbs. God identifies 7 things that he hates above all else. Scripture clearly indicates that God's view on sin is different That's why suicide, among others. So while many New Age Christians want to interpret, because they live under the new covenant, that Jesus Christ died on the cross and all sin is equal, that is not, not accurate according to the gospel. But we can get hung up on that and go forever. More importantly, the issue about how you dress and how you view has a direct correlation on so many different things. So I want to just sit back and fall in and kind of see where I can kind of chime in on between you guys' discussion. Just to see if there are any questions that I may be able to clear up. I don't want to dominate anything. I just want to be involved and see what goes on. So you guys go ahead.
I appreciate you stopping in. And honestly, the topic, it kind of got off the topic a little bit because Mrs. Kia, I'm assuming, Kaya. Okay, because Mrs. Kaya was speaking about her daughter and that her daughter being in school and being around the LGBT agenda kind of made her daughter believe that homosexual relationships are more loving and more kind than heterosexual marriage. So from there, we ended up speaking about Mrs. Kaya's life, her marriage, that she just divorced her husband only about a year and a half ago. She has a 14-year-old daughter. And like I said, her daughter kind of is seeing things differently because of school and outside influences. She says that she's a Christian woman and she's trying to raise her daughter in the Christian fashion. So we were also speaking about acceptance of homosexual children and what we would do if our children came home and broke that kind of news to us.
Yeah, so as somebody who, my daughter actually went to a school that turned out to be exceptionally liberal, where these conversations, first of all, colleges and universities are liberal places anyway, with male enrollment down to under 60%. A lot of stuff gets told to young ladies that is confusing, where they're trying to get women to accept a genderless world. This is all part of a greater design from second wave feminism. If you notice that, we have more women who are now looking for partners instead of husbands. There's a book called The Richer Sex and the End of Men, 1972. Check them out. So what we're basically trying to get women to do nowadays is, because so many women are being told that they're actual happiest when they're out here competing and working. So this is why, especially in the Black community, I've been talking about this for the last 2+ weeks. You got fully 60+% of our women all wanting to be some sort of CEO, some sort of boss. Well, then if that's the case, success comes with responsibility. And one of them is marrying down. Successful men marry down all the time. We're expected to marry down. And if you want to be a successful woman, you should go right. If you want to have the rights, the power, everything that comes along with it, the long hours, the influence, the status, well, God bless you. But your biology doesn't like it.
Well, just Miss Kaya was mentioning that her husband, they ended up divorcing because she said that he wasn't intellectual after this amount of time and that he wasn't learning, or I don't know how you phrased it, Mrs. Kaya. Please
I was coming in when you said that
he
was what do you mean that he was basically he was beneath you? What do you mean?
Well, what I was trying to say was he had no desire to grow, all he wanted to do is smoke weed all day. And nothing. It was like having a conversation with a teenager boy.
So he didn't have a job?
No. So he came in, it was my fault, and I take 100% responsibility for this. And of course, I've heard you said it, and yes, ER nurse, RN. And when he came into my life, I was already established and working, no kids, and
You had no. So you had. Is he the father of your children?
Mm-hmm.
How many kids you have?
2.
So when you guys got together, were you the same age?
Yeah, he's a year older than me.
And he didn't have a job when you guys first met?
No.
I'm
No,
curious.
so it wasn't
So you
supposed to
married
go
down.
that way.
But you're a nurse, right?
Yeah.
The average Black woman in this country earns $56,000 a year. Are you earning double with that? Earning double that? So $56,000 a year or more?
Over double that.
Okay, so congratulations. Just like a man, you must marry down. But see, that'd be like me marrying Ameera and then turning around and saying she's uneducated. All she wanted to do was sit around and be my wife when I had to go out here and conquer the universe. Well, that's what comes along with success.
Yeah, but okay, so my issue was when we first had the kids, I was fine with him being home. And so no sitter, I was fine with that. The kids are now in school full time. Well, my son at this time is 17 and my daughter is 14. And when it came to a point they're in school all day, he doesn't, they're getting back and forth on their own.
Just like if you were a wife, you don't expect, just like, so if I married Ameera and as a young wife and she had my children and got them to adulthood, I would not expect her to now say, okay, now go out and get a job. She's done her job.
He's just smoking weed all day on the couch and playing a game.
Well, what state do you live in? What state do you live in?
California.
Congratulations, weed is legal.
Well, it wasn't then, but
what I'm saying is this is what I'm saying. Modern women fought for this kind of stuff. And I'm just trying to get you to understand that if a man were in your position and were to divorce his wife because she did her job, you can't turn around and call your wife less than when you married a man that's less than because you were successful. Now, here's the better question here, because if you're dissatisfied with what he is, I'm fine with that. Why didn't you get a man that was going to be above you then, so you wouldn't have to have so much disdain for him?
It's so sad to say, and I am that one that I had no clue what to look for, expect in a man. I learned by just living life. I was never taught, and I had no clue. I really didn't. And I'm just now, sad to say, from you and Anton and listening to men on this YouTube platform, and I'm like, wow, that is, what a man should be and do. And that's what I've always wanted. I knew I wanted that, but I guess I didn't know how to get it, because even with him, I made it very clear that I wanted him to be head of household, even though I'm making the money. I still
works. That's not how that works.
I know now.
So what I'm saying is, and I don't want to derail the conversation, but what I wish you ladies would start to do is understand that if a man were in your position to start talking so ill about the mother of his children and his ex, how do you think the men that you would like to deal with would perceive this? Because he was your legal husband, and he is the father of your children. And you're saying that basically I divorced him because he no longer serves a purpose in my life because the children are out of the home and all he wants to do is sit around the house and smoke weed and so on and so forth.
Well, Kevin, I wanted to ask you something really quickly regarding this.
Point. And if that's true, I can't fault you for not wanting a man who's not productive, but is there a reason to run him down for it? Because is it a surprise that he is who he is?
Kind of.
Okay.
A little bit, because when we first was together, it was different. I just feel like it was that, you make an effort, you put your best foot forward. And then as time went on, I totally was being taken for granted.
Well,
I believe.
let me explain why I kind of know where you're going before you go, because I deal with women that kind of fit in your area every week. And over the last several weeks, I had a woman who was an attorney. And was your husband ever faithful or unfaithful?
No.
Men like this aren't the kind of producer males. You're a husband and he's a wife. So this is the end result of a genderless or a fluid, non or reverse role situation. This is a perfect example of a woman's biology will not accept it. If you could, you would take him out behind the barn and but no. But this is the same thing. With women begin to pick at their men, emasculate their men, beat them down, talk about them because your biology is saying you're not a provider. And this is like I said, you weren't taught, he wasn't taught. Actually, if you're around my age, we were taught that we're equals, and that don't work out. Ameera, what do you have to ask me?
I wanted to bring up the daughter because she's 14, so she's coming of age, and without the father there, I was just wondering how much of an influence that her father would have on her, based on what Miss Kaya is talking about, based on she's saying that he's not educated and he smokes weed all day, and now he's out of the home.
More than what his absence will happen, what comes out of your mouth is going to determine your daughter. And if you doubt it, go to check my channel right now. I have, over the last month, I've been talking about mother-daughter dynamics. And do you want grandchildren in the future?
Yeah, we talk about that, and I do not talk down to my children about their father. And he is still involved in their life as well.
Okay. 7% of all human communication is verbal. It's not what you say. The 93% of as an image professional, you get the right one today. And I'm gonna tell you, what I've heard today is in that household and in front of your daughter. If you don't think your daughter, your daughter in and out, you can tell when she's sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's been your daughter as long as you've been her mother. She knows how you feel about her father.
Well, yeah.
So my point is, this is where we get with this genderless or flipping situations. Women have a loss or lack of respect for men, and then they raise daughters to think of men where. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, where have you taught your daughter to prioritize marriage and children?
Oh, she knows. I truly believe that's the whole purpose for us women.
1 to
10. A 10. Okay. If she was in here right now, she would say that's all I've shared with her.
Now, so that's what you're teaching. Do you have any more? How many kids you have?
2.
You have a son or a daughter?
A son.
How old is your son?
17.
How's he doing?
As far as
maturation, stepping into manhood, self-image.
Well, my son has, he's a loner. He has ADHD, maldepression, and social anxiety. And so he's like he's homeschool. And
why you say those things? That's not a death sentence. I actually date somebody who has that, and she's extremely successful, very intelligent, and an Ivy League graduate. So often we lead with that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, the reason why I led with it is because he's homeschooled and he's kind of like in his own world. He is very intelligent with the computers.
He's socially awkward like most homeschool kids. So basically, and here's the thing, I often work with a lot of parents who homeschool their children. You gotta, one thing I would say, the way kids are socialized is so important. They're getting and he's getting his entire download of men and women, gender dynamics and things like that from YouTube. So it's one thing to tell your daughter what you want, but just you're a parent, just like I know, kids don't really listen to what we say. They look at what we do.
Right.
And they model what we do. So as far as if the outcomes you want, are you guys officially divorced?
Yes.
How long you guys been divorced?
Officially, the date was September 13th of this year. It took over a year to get it done.
So how and so this, I don't know how you teach your daughter that marriage and family is important. So after a divorce.
I actually, when we were going through the divorce, and right after I left, I set both my kids down and spoke with them that I don't, believe in divorce. I really would prefer not to, but I was just to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. And I expressed that. But I did express to them that, biblically, my faith
So in
is
other
that.
words, so don't be surprised if your daughters doesn't buy what you're saying, because this is the difference between our grandparents. Our grandparents weren't so selfish. They weren't selfish like this. I mean, they didn't sit down and talk to children or like they need to be reasoned adults. Hey, do as I say, not as I do. Live your life this way, but I have a reason why I can't do it. But good luck.
Yeah.
And basically, this is what happens on this mother-daughter dynamic. A lot of mothers raise their daughters to, I provided for you, and you just hope they turn out okay. You got to know that's communicating a paradoxical message at best.
Can I say something, guys? I just want to bring up a point because, Kevin, this is also leading into the Christian values that we were speaking about. And she asked me, what is a New Age Christian? Because I told her that me listening to her, she sounds like a New Age Christian.
Are you a Christian?
She didn't understand what I meant.
Are you a Christian, man?
Absolutely. Yes.
This is very much New Age Christian. There's nothing Christian about this. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing. I was baptized at 5. I actually thought I was called to the ministry. So that's actually kind of why I got on here, because the certitude to which you were speaking, man, this modern Christian womanist feminist stuff is wrecking the Black community. And if we tell our daughters and if you tell your daughter one thing, but then as a Christian, you do something different, what's the Christian justification for the divorce? What's the Christian justification? Irreconcilable differences is not a Christian justification.
Yeah. I made a choice myself to get out of the marriage because it was best for me.
What's the Christian justification? What's the Christian justification?
There's never a justification for divorce. Yeah,
there are justifications for divorce.
Well, I mean, if you want to say abuse and infidelity, right. Yeah. But okay, so
what you're saying is, this is why I bristle when I hear women talk about Christianity or religion, and you don't live it. It's just it's the worst kind of disingenuous. I'd rather hear a person who has no spiritual belief than a woman who calls herself a Christian. That's not what we're supposed to do. You got to know better than that. That's like a Muslim to sit down and eat the pork chop in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes, not sometimes, for me, it was necessary. I was around in the situation. It was bringing me down. It was bringing me down mentally, spiritually, and it was a point. He was never there anyway. When I'm off work, he just go hang out with his friends, and it just wasn't good. And I didn't want my daughter or even my son to continue to see this and think that this is what a marriage is supposed to be. I wasn't happy, and I wasn't going to continue to live that way. It wasn't productive
this
at
man is
all.
not employed at all? This man is not employed at all?
Oh, he is now.
So where does he live?
He does like 5 minutes away from us.
But does he have his own place?
Yes, he came with his job. No, nothing. Yeah.
See?
I stopped myself.
Ma'am, you're horrible.
I'm horrible?
Yes, you're outright. I mean, all I've heard was selfishness. I have a 57-year-old woman on my channel right now talking about how she had to do what she had to do and had to climb the corporate ladder. And my family. And then very she said, you know what? What's your issue that you have with black men? And as I started to talk to her, she's a mother of 4 with 7 grandkids, and her sons don't even like her. She said, what's the issue you have with black men? I said, probably the issue your son has with you. Everything that's coming out of your mouth is about you. You talk about this man like he's a piece of trash. And that's
like a child.
I mean, and this is the father of your children, and he has a roof over his head and he has a job. And and the way you're talking about him in front of strangers online, if you think that we believe that women like you hold back this energy around your children, it's about you. This is why I recommend therapy so much, because you cannot be sane and think that you can talk to a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old who this ain't just started today. This has been going on for a long time. And sitting them down as a freshman in high school and saying, well, let me talk to your daughter. You know, that piece of shit in there was your father who only smokes weed and, you know, plays video games all day. I'm just not happy. So I just want you to understand that I love you so much that I had to get away from his ass. Now, you can stay over here with him, but I'm going to go over here. And the fact that he has a place to live and a job and everything else, don't worry about that. Even I did that for him. I mean, come on, man. Where is this? What would Jesus do?
Well, you know, with that being said, I take full responsibility. It's not my intention to be a horrible ex-wife or put him down. I'm just being honest with answering the questions. And
Jada
then
Pinkett Smith would say the same thing about Will Smith. But where is the power of life and death lies where, Christian?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The power of life and death resides where, Christian?
I know.
I want to know whether Christian knows.
Oh, okay.
Where it resides? What after death? You mean like Jesus Christ?
No. Christian, you don't understand Proverbs 18 and 21. Tongue has the power of life and death.
Oh, the tongue.
Christian,
oh, okay.
See?
Well, I didn't say like perfect.
I'm saying it in a lighthearted way, ma'am, because we talk about Christianity and you can't bring Christianity into it when you're a Christian light. It can't be your justification when you're sitting up here tattooed up, divorcing your husband for grounds that are just irreconcilable differences, running the man down in front of everybody. There's nothing Christian about this, because there's no grace, no mercy, no forgiveness. Even if you felt like you couldn't survive it anymore, cool, I get it. Where's the grace and the mercy, though?
She says she doesn't believe in rules in Christianity.
Really?
She said that.
There are no rules.
Rules about the dress a certain length, short to certain length. You can't wear this or wear that.
What about tattoos and adornments?
I don't. Okay, so
my point is, and the reason I'm asking you these things, and I'm taking it lighthearted because, see, being a Christian is just like it's a choice. We choose. No one makes us. No, we're not compelled to be Christians or Buddhists or Muslims or anything. To believe in a religious system comes with its own abilities to look at something and look at the paradoxes and hypocrisies and accept them because of faith. But we're choosing to put ourselves under a different set of rules because we're separating ourselves from what we consider to be the world. And if in the church there's no difference than in the world, then what's the purpose of being a Christian?
So when I'm saying about being a Christian, okay, so I totally live that I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and I know my salvation lies in Him, and that I will spend eternity with God in heaven. So with that being said, I am still human living here, making decisions, and by no means am I perfect, but that has already been resolved. That's already been done. So now what I'm doing is living life one day at a time, doing the best, learning from my mistakes, and not choosing.
That's that bullshit new Christian stuff. That's that bullshit new Christian stuff. That's the Christianity that just like people who are Catholics, they can go do wrong all week and then confess to a priest and then they're absolved. No, man.
No, I don't live. That's what I'm saying. I don't live in it.
Ma'am, that's not how it works. You can't go around and say, I believe in Jesus Christ. He died for my sins, therefore I'm free. So I got my get out of jail free Christian card. I'm going to my soul is saved. Yeah, but if you ain't no earthly good and you can walk around here being just as foul as you were before you were saved, you think that's what's meant by the gospel?
No, how I live my life, which we haven't talked about that. I go out, I feed the homeless. I started a ministry
but charity begins at home, ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely.
You wrecked it. You're a home wrecker. You wrecked your own home.
I did do that.
So again,
I take that and I accept that.
So my point is, do you not think your kids can see that my mom is talking a good game and she'll feed the homeless, but she talks about our father like he's a homeless man?
Yeah,
think about it, man.
I don't try to do that, but with emotions,
but the lack of respect, the contempt.
I can own that.
All right. What is Christian about that?
With me not intentionally going out, like I said,
nothing to do, ma'am. See, that's what I mean. That's what okay. This is what I'm trying to get you modern Christian women to understand. Your intent doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
This is the man you chose to make a covenant with before God.
Yeah.
You have a higher calling. And were you a Christian before you were married or after?
Before.
All right, then you walked into this with open eyes.
I sure did, and I take total responsibility for that.
You realize you're talking about the father of your children and your husband as worse than people talk about homeless people.
No, but it's just I was just answering the question, and it's the truth.
But it's not.
It can help someone else, not to get into that, hopefully, and to make better decisions.
You don't get it. You don't get it. You still see this righteousness that so many modern women have. You think you're doing something. You think you're helping. Like, I'm going to just tell the truth. So Jada Pinkett Smith just gets up there and tell the world, Will ain't that good in bed. So if it helps somebody else not to get married, man, it will help people for you to just shut up.
Okay.
Honestly, because this is crazy to talk about your children's father. Like I could understand if you said that he went out and got 15 different babies on you. He drained the family account. He did this. I mean, you talk about this man like he ain't shit.
Really? It's not my intention. Well, I will take note of that. And
I'm gonna listen to do you think I just jumped up here for no reason? I mean, I listened to what you were saying. You were running him. He just sits around the house and smokes weed all day, and he does nothing. And I'm like, well, he doesn't have a job. No, he didn't have a job. So in your entire marriage, he never had a job. He didn't have a job your entire marriage.
No.
Okay.
So he was a stay-at-home dad?
Like I said, he was staying home, and our agreement was once the kids, got done, they can get back
was he a stay-at-home
school.
dad? You didn't answer the question. He didn't work?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did not work.
Okay, but that's what you signed up for.
Yes.
Okay, so did he do what he signed up for?
He didn't fulfill it, no.
What didn't he do?
because our understanding was, we discussed this beforehand, and our agreement was once the kids were in school full time, that he would get a job. And
full time in elementary school?
No, I wasn't really.
I just don't know what you mean by
requesting
full time. Elementary school, junior high, high school. What's
No, junior high. My son, he's a senior. My daughter's in high school now.
So he was supposed to get a job when your daughter was in junior high, so 7th grade.
So yes.
So
And
7th grade.
he was supposed to
hold on. I
start
just want to get the
smoking
timeline. I just want to get the timeline.
Okay.
Timeline. 7th grade is junior high.
Yes.
So, and she's in 9th grade now, right?
Yes.
She's going into 9th grade, or she's in 9th grade?
She's in 9th grade.
So 7th grade, so 2 years. So she graduated. She went from junior high, 7th grade. So she was in 7th grade. That's year 1. 8th grade, year 2. Going into 9th grade, year 3. So, how long you guys been married?
18 years.
So listen, I just want to understand the math of it. So he has not. So you married this man, and his job was to be the house husband. And after the last child was in junior high, he was supposed to get a job from not working for 15 plus years to get a job. Did you make any allowance for what kind of job, or just a job?
Just a job, but the math. Okay, so I work nights. I was coming home doing everything.
I'm not worried about what I'm trying to understand is what his responsibility. When
he
your
wasn't
daughter,
doing it.
No. Let me kind of get there and where I'm trying to get. Okay. At 7th grade, 8th grade. Now, 2 years. He hadn't had a job for your entire marriage, I guess.
No.
And he's supposed to get a job during the coronavirus pandemic, where the whole country was locked down, and we were losing jobs left and right, and people were off. School was still going on. And I want you to understand how crazy this sounds.
No.
2 years, 2 or 3 years.
It was before 2 years, because I was coming home doing everything.
If you were supposed to get a job, you said he was, when the kids, my agreement was once the kids were in high school, when kids were in school, you get a job. All right. So 7th grade to 9th grade. Does that math make sense?
It does. Because I was working nights, I would come home and get the kids to school. He wasn't doing it for years. When my son went to junior high, my son would go ride his bike. And then my daughter, when I get home, I had to take my daughter to school. He wasn't doing it. That's the point.
Okay.
And then I would go to sleep.
Hold on. He was supposed to. Okay.
And he wasn't doing anything.
Okay. Let me get this straight.
Okay.
1 minute you're saying he was doing his job. Next minute you're saying that you're having to take the kids to school. The kids didn't ride the bus?
No, the school was right around the corner for my daughter.
So
in elementary school, that is.
So does he do any homework with the kids? So you're basically basically making it sound like is he just woke up in the morning and just sat there. Okay. And he did that for how many years? Years,
the whole marriage.
No,
that's my point.
That's
he wasn't.
You didn't start it that way.
Okay, so in the beginning, we didn't have any kids, and then we were traveling and just having fun,
right.
And then with my son, I'm telling you, when I had my kids, I was working nights. I've always worked nights. I was doing everything. I promise you, I would go to work, then come home and do everything. And then I kept trying to ask him, I need, you need to do this if you're home. And he kept saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And he'll do it for a day or two, a week, maybe a month. And then it goes back to the same old thing. And then as soon as I'm off, he would leave and go hang out in the old neighborhood with his friends.
Yeah,
and then
here's the thing. Let me tell you what I'm listening to, Ameera. I've listened to stuff like this for so long. All I'm hearing is a bunch of white noise and lies, because I know what you've told this story so long, ma'am. I know this is what you believe, and I'm quite sure there are hints of truth to it.
Absolutely,
but the exaggerations are there as well. I mean,
if anything, I'm downplaying it.
And I'll tell you, and why I'm even here is because you were talking about Christianity and this and that. And if a woman was supposed to be staying at home, because you didn't marry a producer male, let's just be honest, you married a house member. That's what you got. And if he was depressed, if he was whatever, if there was the man that had a woman that was doing home, you'd have to figure out why she wasn't doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. But the net of it is, if he's taking care of it, okay, the marriage didn't work, fine, let it go. Stop running the man down in public. That's all I'm concerned about. That's why I'm even here. I'm like, Jesus Christ, because you're talking about dressing appropriately. I'm like, why is this even here? But you got such an axe to grind with him. Take that shit into a counselor's office, because I don't know if you understand or not. Your children can run across this video.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be right, or do you want to have because it sounds like you've been dealing with this unhappiness you're free of it. Are you in therapy?
No.
You need it.
Okay.
Because there's some and right or wrong, there's some deep-seated stuff going on. You have not moved on from this. And maybe you shouldn't be. Maybe everything you're saying is 100% correct. All right, but you're divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And but you still got another half of life left. What's the rest of life going to look like? Because this chapter's over.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid, your son is 17, your daughter's 14. That's it. That's their father, no matter. And you picked him.
I did.
So stop saying all the shit that he didn't do. See, what my issue with you, ma'am, and women who do what you do is you do stuff, and then you want to continue to beat them in that I did this, I did that, I did that. Keeping score.
Okay.
You got 2 kids out of you. Love your children?
Absolutely.
Well, then say thank you to him. What do you thank him for? Anything? Is he worth anything?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what?
I have thanked him for my children.
What are some good things about him outside of the kids?
Well, when things do need to be fixed around the house, he'll fix it. He would also make sure my car is running and have gas, and yeah.
God damn.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. Wow. Take the kids out. That's why I said what I said. Take the kids out. Well, he's handy around the house. He put gas in the car. That's a man's life. That's all he's worth is to be a handyman and pump gas.
I would love to hear his side of the story too.
Mm-hmm. I'm not keeping anything. I mean, I'm absolutely.
But that's all you have to say good about a man that's been with to share this much of your life. That's it. He's handy around the house and pumps some gas.
You asked me what does he? I'm being 100%.
I said outside. No, ma'am. I said outside. I said that everybody has some good. A broken clock's right twice a day. What are some good things about the man outside the children? Because I know you're gonna go.
I am not lying. I'm telling you. I mean, I am being 100%.
Okay. So, how old is he?
He's 54. Yeah, 54. He's a year older than me.
So 54. Mm-hmm. And I need you to understand that I'm asking you to try to just throw a bone out there. Say some good things about him to balance it out. So people who want to understand what you're saying can give you the benefit of the doubt. And the most you can get out is if something's broke around the house, he would fix it. And if my car, and he would put gas in my car. That's the sum total of the good you can find in a 54-year-old man that you spent years with. That's it. That's what you went to, the top of the mountain. That's it.
I mean, that's he didn't do anything else. I'm sorry, but I'm telling you the truth. And this is the absolute truth. I promise you.
No, ma'am, it's your truth. And
Okay.
this is what I need, and this is what I need us to understand. This is why I'm so direct with women, because even a broken clock is right twice a day. Even the most ardent of enemies can find something to say when there is respect there.
I agree. Can I ask you, Miss Kia, were you raised by your father as well? Did you have your father in your life?
No.
So
I had no male example whatsoever my entire life. Like I was saying, I've just maybe in the last few months or so, once finding these shows on YouTube, speaking of this, I've never even knew any of this at all.
well,
But I always knew.
I would say this, that father or not, the man is entitled to at least human respect. I mean, and I think if I would ask him to say some good things about you, I would hope that he would have more. That's why I think therapy is so good, because I watched I watched a family member of mine's woman live her entire life with this level of anger and hostility and resentment, or whatever you want to call it. And this will kill a person. It'll eat away at you. We have to learn how to, especially we talk about religious people, let it go. Some grace, some mercy, some forgiveness, to the point to where it can't all be bad. But you're not there yet. That's why I say therapy is good, because whether you got it growing up or not, we're still here in process. And I can't imagine that a husband, the father of your children, the best things you can say is that. So, but as far as switching gears, this dressing thing.
Oh yeah, please speak on that.
This, part of the reason people reject any kind of code is because people want to do what they want to do. They want to do what they want to do. And they want to tell you that not all, I posted on Instagram today, not all is not an effective or winning argument. They want to always fit through this gray area. And see, what it means is a life without structure and discipline. And what it means is a life that you can be your own little God. You are God, and when you no rules, you're God in your life. Because, there was a time in this world where when we gave our vows, they meant something. There was a time where people really believed in the deities we talk about, we believe in, to where you didn't need someone to tell you shouldn't do it. It was like you had that relationship. But now it's to the point to where man has made mankind, we're in the process of making ourselves our own gods, to where these are just guidelines. So, and you can't get upset that as a woman, I don't think women are going to want the world they're talking about. You don't want a world where rules are just this fluid, because you get the kind of men you're talking about right now. Because the reason men civilized the world in general and done our part is because they wanted to have access to a woman and soul access and committed access. Men are territorial. But if men are starting to learn that, you know what, if it's fluid like this, if she's not going to stay, or if I do A, B, or C, if everything's always up for grabs and you never know, and there's nothing that's even any further, that's any firm, there's no ground, there's no principle, there's no nothing. What's the motivation for people to do anything? So this is what happens. In the 90s, we started with this business casual work environment. And the thought was, go away from this convention and this whole thing to have a genderless work environment, make people more happy and more productive. And what they noticed was employees were more relaxed at work. They were more comfortable. And the thought process was they would be more productive. It went the opposite direction. The data is in. And prior to coronavirus, the corporate environment was tacking back towards business professional dress codes. If you've ever worked in a place where they had jean Wednesdays or whatever, I worked in a place where they actually have pajama day. Now see, but Ameera would show up in pajamas was going to be straight up flannel, a robe, some furry slippers. But you know what I'm going to say, Miss Kaya. You know what I'm going to say. In that same call center, here comes Shirley in some Victoria's Secretions. In a call center. Because to her, that was her pajamas.
No.
I mean, I want you to understand, go back in the 60s when we actually looked at our people and said we had, on college campuses, you saw young men in shirts and slacks and hard sole shoes and a tie. You go to when's the last time you been to the airport? It's this disgusting. Lounge pajamas, big tops, bonnets, flip flop. I mean, it's like people, when you take off the rules, the lowest common denominator is debauchery and chaos. Is that the world we really want? Now, I'm 52, and I hammer this all the time. There's a time and place for everything, but I'm sorry, you go out in a mall on the average weekend, and you look at the average 40-year-old father and his 5th grade son, and they dress the same: graphic T-shirt, jeans, sneakers, ball cap. And you couldn't do that in 1970. The men look like men, and the boys look like boys. And another thing is because dress codes denote gender roles. Skirts, dresses, pants, however you want it, there's more feminine ways of being. And see, the thought process was let people do what they want to. Now you got men in goddamn dresses and women in pants. I mean, is that what we really want? This country is being weakened from the inside because we're taking away all gender roles and all sense of right and wrong. And we're basically saying, you don't cancel anybody, let everybody express themselves to the level of what? That each person is Zeus in their own life. We're losing. And we're losing because the first thing we lose with all these lack of roles is the very thing we just spent so much time talking about. There is a big correlation between image and family. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Is like, how does an image consultant end up talking about relationships? Because our individual images play so much of a role in our position facing life, in our personal relationships and our professional relationships. So
I thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day for doing this.
You're welcome.
And that's the main point that I wanted to get to. And I wanted to speak about the rules and why they're there and why they shouldn't be rules. It should be automatic. But a lot of people don't feel the same way. And this is what I was speaking about Miss Kaya about. Well, that she doesn't believe in the rules.
Well, we're in the same age cohort. I understand why she doesn't believe in the rules. Because our parents were baby boomers. Our parents' generation was the 60s generation, the civil rights march. They were coming of age, free love, all the birth control, Roe v. Wade, all these things happened in second wave feminism. Our parents' generation looked at their parents' generation, the silent generation, the ones that went to World War II, and the greatest generation, the one that survived the Great Depression, all this stuff. That generation looked at those women as they were fools because they were cleaning somebody else's house. They were sitting in the back of the, but they felt like they turned their backs. There's a book called, I don't want to, Imitation of Life is about somebody passing. But in general, the baby boomer generation thought women were foolish and they misinterpreted a lot of things they saw. They thought that their mothers, if they had education and this and that, they wouldn't have had to do da-da-da. Not understanding that, like you said, in the Middle East, you guys think because women are repressed according to Western standards that they're so unhappy. It's like, no, they're happy at home with their families and their children and this and that. Sure, it costs them over here, but overall, you're safe, you're this, you're that. We had a better world when we had gender roles because women understood what their job was, men understood what their job was. So we don't get a situation to where Kaya can marry a guy who's sitting at home. Men would have regulated him out of the marriage pool. There's no way he could even had a wife back then. We would have regulated him out of there. There's no way you could have come up to Daddy Kaya, talk about, I want your daughter's hand in marriage. What?
Not Daddy Kaya.
But that's the point, when we actually had rules, when a man was supposed to be what he was supposed to be. And the main thing we lost is our church. When the church flipped to this prosperity gospel, and we got this whole injection of feminism and around in the 60s and 70s, it hit the Black community right where it lived, in the religious core. Now our church don't even look the same anymore because of a lot of things we're talking about. That's why I wanted to join in here, because I have a pretty unique perspective on both. But anyway, the comment section ought to be romping.
Very much. Oh, one last thing, Kevin. One last thing. So this is another reason why I speak against the role reversals, the gender role reversals, because you see how in Miss Kaya's situation, she was okay with it in the beginning, but eventually women grow to hate you. They start to hate you after a while. This is not proper. And all those people saying that we can have men be stay-at-home dads and the mom go, it doesn't work in the long term, because women naturally, it just doesn't work for us. We start to resent you.
It goes against your biology. That's why the richer sex and the end of men. Read those two books. You'll understand that this, and see, in order to have women in leadership, power positions, and in order to keep a family, you have to have a man in the supportive role. And the women who chose to go out and do this, it was assumed that they would take a man in a supportive role. And they did.
Right.
But what was not factored into it was evolutionary biology, that it is a woman's evolutionary nature to despise men who are not viewed as protectors, this, that, because your biology tells you your DNA shouldn't be in the next generation. But by that time, it's too late. Your DNA has evolved, because I want you guys to understand, if we went back 5,000 years ago, right? A woman can only have one child a year. And the most vulnerable thing, a pregnant woman is vulnerable. In a tribe, in a village, no matter what, a child is a significant investment. So before birth control and all this other kind of stuff, women had to truly, truly guard their womb, because being impregnated by a non-provider, protector male risked your life, risked your children's life, risked everybody. That's why there were so many stops and starts and guards on this kind of stuff. This is why grape and all those other kind of offenses were like, you could be killed for that, because you're not supposed to, you haven't earned the right to go there. You're supposed to have to, oh, you want my daughter? You need to work 7 years for me. What? Yeah, you want my daughter? You got to work 7 years for me. That's in our Bible too, remember? Then after 7 years, here's the daughter. Oh, the one you want, you got to work 7 more years. But then you finally get the one you want, because men had to work to have access. But now, because we're trying to have this egalitarian society where everything goes, we still don't get down to the primitive hindbrain. And that's where the whole 7 seconds, people make 11 different assumptions about you to stick. That's down in our primitive hindbrain. Everything I talk about really comes from evolutionary biology and the fundamental animal nature of people. I just have a way of communicating it to where I can take the complex concept like that, make it simple. But bottom line is, Ameera, you're right. Ladies, you will eventually evolve to despise a lesser man. I'll give you an example, Kai. Give you an example. There's a man, whether you're in the mood or not, there is the kind of man that can walk up to you in the bar and say, hey, how you doing? Man, I like your lips. And you be like, and you'll cuss him out, say some kind of shit, blah, blah, blah. But then there's that dude that can walk up to you and you everything about your body, you're like, oh, he can say, damn, I like them lips. And you'd be like, even your rejection would be different. And there are countless videos on YouTube where men who are more sexually select are approaching the same woman as a non-sexually select man approaching the same woman. And you can look at the differences. It's biological. So thanks for being a good sport. I know that probably wasn't easy, but I think it can be helpful. But I'm serious about therapy. I think it'll be good. I think we all need therapy in the Black community, because we didn't get taught the kind of stuff, and we carry too much guilt for making wrong decisions. That's one of the worst things of Generation X. We carry a lot of goddamn guilt for things we weren't taught.
Well, I thank you, and I do appreciate it. And I honestly, I wasn't looking at it that way. And like I said, it wasn't my intention, but I totally hear you. And I will do some self-reflection, of course. And I won't do that anymore. That's for sure.
Self-awareness is 2022 is going to be a lot about self-awareness and interactions. So this is good. Night.
Yeah, I think you were the one who told me that my marriage was arranged because I never realized that it was arranged when I spoke about it. But I
Mhm.
watched your video speaking about it, and it made me realize that yes, it was arranged, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
I
that's a
am
good
proud.
thing. Oh, we need more of that. What we need is more happy outcomes. How we get there?
Yeah.
But if we have models that work, let's use the ones that work.
Yes.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Kaya, thank you so much for being such a good
No
sport with us.
problem.
And thank you
No
for being so
problem.
open and truthful with us. I mean, I know it must be hard sometimes when people are asking you so many intimate questions, but
Yeah,
you have been such a
it's okay.
soldier. And you
Well, I
took
thank you
on the
for
most,
having me on.
no, of course.
I
You
know.
took
I
on
was
the
like,
Samuels.
this is like for real. I never even imagined this, but I thank you. And this is, bottom line is this is just an amazing thing to ever even experience, to be coming on here with people in different parts of the United States and different countries, and to have this dialogue, for one, is amazing. And this is the way, we can use to learn. It's going to better me, of course, and I'm going to do some self-reflecting and see how I come across. And it's nothing but a good thing. So I appreciate you and your platform. And I'm glad we worked out the issues in the beginning and I was
Yes.
able to come on. It was meant to be.
It was. It really was. Because
Yeah,
Kevin doesn't show up just for anyone. So he
Oh,
must have seen something.
he's seen some issues in me.
Really?
Let me go get her right. But no, I appreciate it. I am that person. I love to learn. I continue to grow, and that is my focus and what I enjoy doing. So never too old to learn. So I thank
Never.
you once again.
I do agree with you there. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great Halloween, a good start to your week.
Okay.
I hope it's been a good start.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this show. I hope you have enjoyed. Are you not entertained? Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for being such good sports in the comments. I didn't see too many comments going crazy, so thank you guys so much for being so respectful of the guests and Kevin Samuels. So I guess that's it, guys. Have a great Halloween. Have a great week ahead. And with that, I yield my time. Bye-bye.